think the one thing people underestimate about video games is that people think it's just playtime. But I always say that the one thing video games can give you that nothing else in entertainment can is that feeling of pride, right? Look what I did. And even though we want to make a game that is very big and is very long, you can play for all of those years. It's all the paths you didn't take that make it special to you, that you feel like when you finish that quest, that you feel that you accomplished something that week. The people who love video games can always say, like, you know, what'd you do today? I saved the world.
We've been incredibly lucky to work with such a tight group of people for so long. Like, we're all friends. It's like a second family in a way. We all sort of know or get what a Bethesda game is.
There's definitely this core group who's been working together for decades and knows how to make a BGS game. And then there's this, new generation of game developers who are coming in and working at BGS who grew up on those games those people made. For some people, those are the games that got them to go into the industry in the first place. And what I love about that is those people come in and they love the worlds too, and they want to stay true to those worlds that they grew up on. And so we're still able to maintain what a BGS game is, but continue to evolve.
I think we underestimate how long people are going to play it. You look at Skyrim, we're sitting here 10 years later, and it keeps having this life, and it changes how you want to create something.
Yeah, I feel like our games sort of have two lives, right? Like, we create this game and we put everything we can possibly put into it, tell the stories we want to tell, and build this world that's sort of a setup that when we hand it off to the players, they play it, but then they take it and make it their own. They tell their own stories, and then they make their own stories with our tools.
I think it's the hallmark of our games that, you play it and my experience is going to be different than yours. I'm going to come in and tell you a funny story about something that happened to me. You may never have seen that because just a confluence of events. And I think that helps with the longevity, and it helps with that feeling of community in a lot of ways.
It is a world that you get transported to that you can really make your own. And that's where, for me, the magic is, to do it for 2 decades and close to that for so much of our group. There's a big trust there that we know how we solve certain things together. We were doing Morrowind and looking at what we might do after that and beyond that. And we had a list of what are the other types of worlds we want to go to. And obviously Fallout was at the top of the list, if we could do that, and that, magically, luckily came true for us. And right behind that was, science fiction. Going to space, I think there's a magic in just defying gravity and taking off from a planet. Like, it's extremely difficult human endeavor.
Yeah, a lot of our games are about exploration, and that's sort of like, that's the ultimate exploration, is what's out there, what's past Earth, right? So it's incredibly exciting for us to work on something like that. I feel like every time we come to a game, we're starting fresh. We're saying, okay, we just did that one, that's over. How do we make it better in every way? It's got a more realistic, science-based backing to it, whereas Skyrim is sort of an epic fantasy. This is a more grounded game and a grounded setting about exploration. So I think that gives us a different take on how we make everything. So that's sort of the thing you latch onto when we're making new areas, making environments, making characters.
The mechanics of the world are entirely different, but there are similarities. And I think those are things we like. Like, we like playing first person. We like having all the coffee cups. We like being able to touch everything. Those moments make the whole thing believable. Being able to watch the sunset and nighttime come and just sit there and watch the world go by seems like it's not gameplay, but it is vital to how you feel through the rest of it.
I also think that because it's based in a more realistic atmosphere, is like, you have a lot of people on our team who are super into certain things like robotics or engineering, and they can use this lifetime of knowledge they have gathered and then use it in their work.
Everyone comes from, these different areas and brings stuff to the game that can make it in, and it all matters, from the rocks to the clutter to, what the spacesuits look like. It's, based on people's experience and sort of learning about how things work in the world and trying to apply it in a way that's believable for this universe.
Yeah, it starts feeling so real to us. Like all you're saying, we do all that stuff, but then concepting like everything they eat, or the toys the children play with, or what are their bedtime stories? What is their art? What is their history? What is their entertainment? It is a universe, not just a game.
There has to be an emotional trigger that occurs. And I think as time has gone on, we're able to paint an even better picture that triggers that emotional thing.
We always have that step out moment into the world, so to say. Technology's changed, we've all changed. So our expectations when loading up a game, like, okay, I'm gonna step out and there's gonna be this moment. Us being able to do that and have it feel new every generation, every game, is something that is really special about what we do. I like to say that Starfield has 2 step out moments. It's cryptic. Our process of making it is a journey for us that is very, very rewarding. And coming to Starfield, everybody starting over and saying, what would you want to do? What does going to space mean to you? And everybody comes back to the same one. I want to see what's out there.
It's a level of immersion that we really focus on. That you're not just playing a game, but you're living in this world, in this universe.
It's a giant open world for the player to do what they want. You feel like you've had an impact in the world. You really feel like you're there.
There's certain, types of entertainment where you're just experiencing it. You're taking in what the creator wants you to see, and they draw that dotted line between this happens, go here, do this. The more that we can put you in the situation where you're going to decide. That's what makes video games the best form of entertainment that they are.
We don't just make RPGs, like we make simulations, and that leads to a lot of just crazy stuff that can happen and things you don't expect.
Yeah, we always have those big fights, like what if combat breaks out right now, right? You have to handle that, right? Because it could. You can't control it. The only thing you control is that the game has to account for it somehow.
We embrace the chaos, let it play out, and usually it's pretty fun.
A lot of us have been doing this for a long time together, and it's nice with Starfield to go back to some things we didn't do, the backgrounds, the traits, the defining your character, all of those stats. And I think there's so many games now that do those things that people are ready for something that does a lot of the things that, older hardcore RPGs, some that we used to do, doing those again in a new way.
We've always allowed the player to create really interesting, unique characters. This game, we've definitely severely leveled up. The tech is based on scanning of real-world models, similar to the photogrammetry we do in our landscapes. We're kind of applying the same thing to our people as well, because it's not just the appearance of your player and all that, but we want all the personal interactions of NPCs, other characters in the game, to be as impactful as possible. And for that, you have to believe these are real people. You're a real person interacting with real people.
One of the big choices is which part of the game world am I going to engage in? We always make a bunch of different groups that represent some of the major factions in every game. And in this one, we've got the United Colonies that represents the future space republic idealized. You also have the Freestar Collective, which is the space Western fantasy, people that are out there on the frontier. We've got Ryujin Industries, which represents corporate life. I think it has one of the best starts of any of the factions we've done.
It's a megacorp, and you get hired, right? As you would do, right?
We'll play for our job. We'll see if you cut the mustard.
Right.
Yeah, I love approaching it that way where, okay, what makes the world feel whole? What are the groups that would make it feel whole and believable? And then how does the player interact with them? What we're doing with the pirates, the Crimson Fleet as well. They're not just this foe, let the player join them. What does that mean?
The cool thing about Crimson Fleet, what if you're a good person and you want to be a good player and you don't want to play as a bad guy? You can side with the pirates, or you can report back your superiors and be like basically space cop type of thing. So it'll let you be a good person and still play with the bad guys. I think that's really cool too.
It seems like no matter what story we write, the one the players tell themselves is the one that they think about and love the most, and the companions.
Hello, Captain. How may I be of assistance?
So something we really, leaned into on this game, how those other characters felt about you.
That's probably my favorite part. Like when you're exploring and then your companion makes some comment off the cuff about something that you're checking out or something that just happened, it just feels so perfect for immersion. It's so believable. You think it's a real person.
So, we knew we wanted to do some kind of persuasion minigame thing.
Yeah, we sat down and it was funny. We didn't start with, let's do an evolution of, let's look back at the old Oblivion system, but there are a couple of beats there. You have to think about, what's my risk here, right? Which one do I want to choose? We didn't want it to be a system where there was definitely the right thing to say.
It feels like you're having a conversation where you're actually trying to persuade somebody of something. So it's actually, I think it's, as far as new systems in dialogue, I think it's definitely one of the most successful ones that we've had.
Yeah. I think when we knew we were making a game about space, you ask yourself certain questions, and that question is, what is out there? And so, as a game, we have romance, adventure, mystery, but I think with Starfield, there's this other layer of, the cosmos and the universe and what is out there.
At the end of it, we want the players to have told their own journey, but then look back at it and we're asking the big questions. Why are we all here? Where is it leading? And what's next for humanity?
I always say that the music is the fourth dimension. It is the emotional dimension. And so in order to create this, you have to ask these questions. Where are you going? What's your motivation? What is your story? What is really pushing us? This is what really drove me more than anything else. These huge questions, they're as big as space.
Everything I've worked on at this studio, the music started very early on, as early as the concept art for the game from when I began here in 2005. At that time, Oblivion was already well underway, but as we went on to Fallout 3 after that, that was one of the first things I worked on music-wise was the main theme, and that's always been the case, where the main theme sets the tone for everything else we do in the game. And there's time throughout the entire project for that to evolve.
That's true, and I remember during the Fallout 4 visit, which was actually in 2012, I was wandering through the corridors and I basically stumbled into the artist's room. And it was the first time I actually saw them do what they're doing. I was captivated. I was like, wow, this is really what it is all about. And I felt so inspired and motivated basically to go back and, to do the same thing with the palette of music. The biggest challenge is actually creating the signature.
I relax a lot once
Exactly.
we feel good about the main theme, because the rest is going to, it'll be work and iteration, but it's going to write itself.
The way I looked at Starfield always is what I called the sanctified triplet, which is everything is streaming, right? Everything is changing and everything is returning back. Ta-da, ta-da, here's your development, and then ta-da, and back. So basically it presents itself, it develops, it goes back.
The circular.
Is exactly some sort of like a circular journey.
You go out, you adventure, discover, return.
Yes, there's always the strive to go back home. And that's, I guess that's what feels so complete for us, right? We want to complete the mission. We want to complete our journey. We will find something, we will discover something, we'll take it with us, and we will go back home with it. When we built the traditional orchestral sound palette, we actually really divided the orchestral group. For example, took the woodwinds, okay? And we created like a whole woodwind layer that almost represents particle in space, because they don't play melodies at all. They play sort of like a high frequency sequence, you know, like together. So they almost don't sound like woodwind. They sound something between organic to synthetic. Then the strings, they will play this long chords or long melodies and long crescendos and diminuendos. And these kind of things along the line with the fast-moving woodwinds will create a nice blanket around these waves, okay? And then comes the brass. And the brass, especially the French horns, playing sort of like the beacon, you know, the call of the brass.
Those instrument groups as well. A lot of times when you are looking at that whole main theme, I'm kind of salivating, thinking about what can I do with that on the sound design side, you know, not just to weave the main theme into different key points in the game, leveling up, discovering new places. Could we use that as straight up sound design to take those woodwind tremolos and just, let's slow them way down, let's reverse them. I'll take any of that music and turn it into ambience somewhere. The music is like the companion. It's the companion to the player in the single-player game. We don't have control over how the player chooses to experience the game. Our sense of scale had to be totally readjusted in making a game on a planetary surface as we've always done before, and now where you have these very vast distances against this black, starry background. It is a blank canvas and a massive playground, and all the pieces are there for you to write your own story. Whether you jump right in and you wish to follow the main quest, the main story, and go to the obvious one point leads to another, leads to another. The music has a funny way of playing the right chord change at the right time, and a lot of that just happens at random. You look over the valley at just the right moment, and that just happens to be when this one chord change happens, and there are times like that that feel scripted, and they're not. And I like that each player has that experience for themselves personally.
I believe that the game is a whole experience, and music is part of the whole experience. I believe that the best music in a game is a music that you don't hear, music that you feel. This is something that is bigger than us. I mean, so many people worked on this game. And so my wish is that specifically the music will be present in a way that is going to magnify the entire experience.
Humanity has always hunted for knowledge in the unknown. The wonder is, not that the field of stars is so vast, but that we have measured it. We're all here because we're committed to the biggest question of all. What's out there? You're part of Constellation now. Part of our family.
We do not fully understand all that is at work here.
No finer group in the stars to be unraveling this mystery.
I'll follow you from here on out, Captain.
Grab jump is ready. I love this part.
These artifacts could be everything we've been looking for. Another great secret the universe is asking us to unravel.
Human settlements throughout the galaxy could be at risk.
We are not stopping. Whatever lies at the end of this road will change humanity forever. This is where we belong.
Hi, I'm Jess Finster, Community Director, and I'm here visiting Bethesda Game Studios, where the team is hard at work on Starfield. I just want to say how grateful we all are for all of the feedback, support, and questions that you have been sharing with us on Reddit, Discord, Twitter. So we wanted to take a moment to answer some of those questions in our new series. So let's get started. First thing that we want to know is what inspired Starfield?
Oh, you know, so many things. I think the main ones that, I'm going to go back like in time here. Sundog is a big one. Amazing game, kind of like the science fiction game when Ultimas were out. It also had this parcelless interface, kind of one of the first games where you're moving objects around and putting them together, but great game where you had your own ship and you could explore around that I loved. Another one, this is a kind of pen and paper role-playing game at the time where, you know, D&D was getting popular, is this game Traveler. Traveler was a little more hard science fiction. The other thing there, it's one of the first games I programmed on the Apple II at the time. I really wanted to make a Traveler game. It was also my first time realizing that computers had memory that you could run out of. I can already see the comments, people saying, you've been running computers out of memory for 40 years now, but that's an easy comment, everybody. You can do better. But those are the big ones, hearkening back to those old role-playing games that we loved, and hey, can we pull off something like this with today's computers and consoles, and et cetera.
You mentioned hard space or hard sci-fi, and I know that that's one of the things that's been hotly debated in the community. Is Starfield considered a hard sci-fi?
I never quite know, because that's always like, what do they think it is if you say yes or no? I think it is more hard to us, hard science fiction, where you can draw that line from, okay, here's how man explored space, and you can even look at our ships and say, all right, that has some, visual identity back to that. But it's a trap question because it's a video game, right? Like a hard science fiction video game would be, you die in space cold. And a good example, we were really into fuel and how the gravity drive works. And I'm reading papers on quantum physics and bending space in front of you. You don't actually warp, you bend the space, you bring the space towards you. And so we were playing that and it became very punitive to the player. Your ship would run out of fuel and the game would just stop. You just want to get back to what you're doing. So we've recently changed it where the fuel in your ship and the grav drive limits how far you could go at once, but it doesn't run out of fuel. Maybe there'll be an update or a mod that allows that, but that's what we're doing now.
Constellation members are excited about the character customization and the traits in the game. Can you talk more about what players will experience with the traits?
I love our trait list. It's super fun. But each one obviously comes with some sort of negative as well. And we have a way in the game, kind of an activity or quest you can do to remove that trait, as opposed to, don't like my character, I want to start over. Each of them are something that you can solve that removes the entire trait for the rest of your playthrough.
The last question, we have speech checks and dialogue that reflect your character build. Do you want to expand upon that at all?
Yeah, look, we've done a lot of different dialogue systems. We've gone back to kind of I'll call it like a classic Bethesda style dialogue with you're looking at the character and how they emote. You have a series of choices there. The scope of the game, the amount of content we're making is a bit more than we've done before in terms of quests and things like that. But the depth in some of this stuff with the dialogue, we just passed 250,000 lines. And so that's a lot of dialogue, but we've gone through it and the impact is really there. And that includes my favorite speech persuasion system.
You're not talking us out of this score.
It feels like it's part of the dialogue, but you're spending points to persuade them.
You willing to give up the ship? Just like that?
It feels natural, not like I've entered some other mode where I'm not doing regular dialogue. It's just I'm in this mode of persuading you to get what I want.
Thank you so much to everybody who submitted your questions on Discord, Reddit, Twitter. We really appreciated reading them all. Today we're talking with Starfield's lead quest designer, Will Shen, on quests. So let's get started. Hi, Will.
Hi, Jess.
Do you want to give a brief intro to yourself so they can get to know you a little bit better?
Sure. I'm Will Shen. I'm the lead quest designer on Starfield, and I am also responsible for the main quest.
Well, we got some of the top questions from our community that they want to know about Starfield. First question. One of the best things about the previous games were random encounters that you have in the world. For Starfield, how has the random encounter system been improved or expanded upon, if at all?
So very exciting. This time around, we have entire planets that we have to populate. So we actually have new tech to take whole locations that we've built and put them on the planets. Now you could say maybe you're going to an outpost and you actually discover there's a whole group of people there with a particular problem. Whereas, before it might be just a person coming to you along the road. Now it's an actual whole location that can be put there. And maybe they have a problem like one of our members was kidnapped. They've been kidnapped by some pirates. We think they're over there. We actually are replacing a whole other location with that person in it and enemies around it. So it's a dynamically placed settlement that is taking you to a dynamically placed dungeon as you're walking through the planet.
So basically, at any point in time on a planet, you can just experience a random encounter anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we're really only just scratching the surface of what that tech can do.
We can see what looks like Earth's own solar system in the Starfield gameplay trailer. Will there be quests taking us back there and exploring how things have changed?
Yeah, actually, very early on in the main quest, we take you to our solar system, which in our lore is called the Old Neighborhood. Nice. And you'll be being sent there on a mission from Constellation to discover the mysteries of the artifacts. And you'll get in contact with the question of what happened to Earth, but also you'll go to Mars, and there's actually a settlement, one of the early settlements that humanity created after they left Earth. It's called Sidonia, and that's a whole city with its own problems and people to meet.
How will faction quest lines work compared to other BGS games? Can we join multiple factions and complete all of them like in Skyrim, or does joining one lock you out of certain others like in Fallout 4?
Yeah, so one of the early things we decided on was making sure that the main quest actually kind of gives you a little bit of a tour of the settled systems and all of the major players there so that we can give you a taste of what they're going to be up to.
We're peacekeepers. We protect the people of the Free Star Collective.
We also discussed really early on, like, okay, do we make some of the factions be in conflict with each other? And we decided, we really want to make sure that you can play through all the faction lines independently of each other. And this time around, we were like, no, we really want the stories to be a little more personal, right? You're influencing the direction of where this faction is going to go. So say the politics of the Free Star Rangers, right? What's more important? Is it justice or industry, right? Where are you going to try to nudge them in this direction or another? So you don't necessarily end up as the head of every single faction of the game. But, obviously all the major characters in every faction quest line will be reflecting on your choices, but it can have far-reaching consequences for what that faction is, what it cares about.
What will the role of some of the companions be during quests?
The companions along the Constellation storyline, which is the main quest, they'll have a lot of opinions and points of view about what the decisions you'll be making along the main storyline. We've also added in several times where you can ask them to speak for you. So you might have a companion with you, and in you'll be challenged to someone will tell you you can't get through here, and you can actually, turn to your companion and say, hey, actually, could you handle this? And they'll actually speak on your behalf, and there could be consequences, good or bad, for what they happen to say. And all the usual things you would expect from followers, right? They'll follow you into danger. You can trade equipment with them. And, they'll also be crewing your ship, which is new. So they'll be helping out on your ship as well.
Will NPCs react in different ways depending on how the player completes a quest?
Yeah, I mean, all the quest lines have major characters, right? That they'll reflect on the decisions you're making, and they'll have opinions about whether they're good or bad, and for a few of the storylines, and including the main quest, who ends up with you at the end, right? There are you'll be determining the fates sometimes, whether someone lives or dies, or whether someone's still in the faction or decides to leave the faction. There's a lot of different things that'll happen.
Well, that's all the questions I have for today. Thank you so much, Will, for taking the time. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much to Will for volunteering his time to answer our questions, and thank you for submitting your questions. If you want to be the first to know about videos like this one or other news about Starfield, we encourage you to sign up to join Constellation. You can also submit any Starfield questions you would like to know at the hashtag here. So until next time, thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to Bethesda Game Studios. We've been so lucky over the decades to make the kind of games that we love here, and that's thanks to all of you. From the Elder Scrolls to Fallout, we love creating these worlds and playing in them just as much as you do. And throughout all that time, we'd often talk about and dream up the space game. What if we could take that feeling of being who you want to be and exploring a new world, but set it in space, where you weren't really limited in where you could go or what you could do? And that is Starfield. Obviously, we've come a long way since then with the games we've built, our technology, and all of us here in the studio. We've done so much together, but we've never tried to make a game like this. Today, you'll get to hear from many on the team and see so much of what we think makes our game special. So let's jump in and take a look. Starfield is our first new universe in over 25 years, but it's still a Bethesda RPG through and through, where you step into a new world and you get that feeling of unlimited possibilities. But this time, it's not just one world. It's over 1,000 worlds. Because the choice of where to go, it's not ours, it's yours. And it wasn't until now that we had the technology to create it. From the rocks at your feet, to the mountains in the distance, to the people and creatures that live in these worlds. That isn't just a backdrop. That moon is actually there orbiting the planet. Yes, you can visit it too. We realistically simulate the galaxy around you. Our next-generation lighting model uses real-time global illumination to light the world based on the type of star and the makeup of the planet's atmosphere. We also have an all-new animation system. And of course, you can play it in third person, and you can play it in first person. We love exploration and rewarding it, but you do explore differently in this game given its scale. That usually involves exploring an area you've landed in. You can collect resources, do a mission, and maybe even stumble upon something unexpected. We do love stuff and all of the items allowing you to pick everything up, and you can view all that in your data menu. This is the hub for everything you're doing, from your skills to your ship, your missions, and your inventory. We love to pack a ton of detail in every object, from all of your weapons, to spacesuits, to food. We just obsess over the details, and food. We obsess over food. When you're done exploring, you can walk back or fast travel to your ship. We have companions and crew you can take with you. I left Vasco here back at my ship.
Welcome back, Captain Howard.
And he can even say your name. Let's head out.
Our mission was to convey the wonder and majesty of space exploration, to evoke the romance of the golden age of early spaceflight. And we've been referring to this approach as NASA Punk. This means a design language where the tech is advanced, yet still looks grounded and relatable.
For us, it's that contrast. That's where the visual interest is. Obviously the NASA, which is the rigid, hard function over style, and then Punk, which is all about style.
You can see that visual style coming through in your ship. Your ship is your home for you and your crew. And like many of the spaces in our game, it has a slightly retro and analog touch, a bit of lo-fi rather than sci-fi, where everything is well used, worn, and lived in.
Alrighty, what's the plan, Captain?
This is your star map. It starts with the planet you're currently on. You can see all of its info and resources. You can choose a landing spot or fast travel to known locations. Backing out further, you can view all the planets in the system. Obviously, the game is big, and it's here you can see planets that have key locations, missions, or life on them, versus the many planets that are barren but resource-heavy. Zoom out even further to see all the systems in this part of the galaxy. Here, you can plot a course to ones that are light years away. This uses your ship's grav drive to fold space and jump to these systems. And you will need to upgrade your ship and skills if you want to jump to the most distant ones. But for now, we'll plot a course to the Alpha Centauri system, where we can find the city of New Atlantis.
Welcome to UC Space. Maintain your current course while we scan your ship's cargo. Scan complete. You are cleared for landing at New Atlantis.
As soon as you land in a city like New Atlantis, your eyes are guided upwards to just these boundless, vast buildings.
It's the biggest city we've ever made, not just in size, but also in the amount of custom art, crowds, and quests.
So the main focus when we're designing a city is obviously what supports the story. We try and tell as many small stories as possible.
This is a colony war memorial.
It's a few moments of gameplay that make the space feel like it's full of real characters that are going about their day-to-day lives.
It's paralyzing if you really stop and think about it.
Buddy, it's coffee.
It's also where your adventure with Constellation begins.
Welcome to Constellation. We have a lot to talk about.
By the time you meet them, Constellation is sort of seen as this mythical group. Most people don't even know they exist anymore. They're the last true explorers in the galaxy, and they're trying to find the answers to some of humanity's biggest questions.
The artifacts are so different, so alien, and I'm certain one of them reached out and spoke to you. The artifact. If you could place it on the table here.
Oh my God, look at how it's coming together.
That means there's a set built by an intelligence outside the settled systems.
It's definitely an eclectic cast of characters. You've got Sarah Morgan, the ex-soldier and adventurer, now Constellation's leader. Mateo, the theologian who believes that there's definitely something else out there. Noelle, the gifted scientist and Sarah Morgan's protege, and Walter, a very successful businessman in the settled systems and Constellation's financier.
Anything goes as long as you have the money.
There's also Vlad, the ex-pirate, Sam Coe, the former space cowboy, and Barrett.
You know what I hate about these pirates? Completely resistant to my otherwise irresistible charm.
The journey you take with Constellation is just the first of many you'll embark on. The Settled Systems is home to all kinds of different stories, people, and adventures for you to uncover.
The United Colonies is where you'll find New Atlantis, the first major human settlement in space. The people who live here value law, discipline, and the legacy of humanity. They consider themselves the true children of Earth.
You ever think of joining up with the Vanguard? Help the United Colonies, even get your UC citizenship?
New Atlantis isn't the only city within the United Colonies. The city of Cydonia on Mars to this day serves as the largest mining facility for the United Colonies. Beyond the United Colonies' reach, you might find yourself in a much more wild and independent coalition of star systems. This is Freestar Collective Space. The capital of the Freestar Collective is Aquila City.
The Stone Root Inn is an Aquila City fixture.
A ranger relies on judgment and intuition to do what's best for the people.
Neon started out as a fishing platform, but is now known throughout the settled systems as a pleasure city where almost anything goes.
If you've got morality issues, this definitely isn't the job for you.
Ryujin is hiring the best and brightest of today for our future tomorrow.
Everyone has been chewed up and ground up by Neon. Try not to get yourself killed, all right?
Outside the bounds of civilized space, there are still plenty of unclaimed systems to explore, but these areas are also home to the most hostile factions in the galaxy.
The great serpent hungers. All heathens shall be made dust in time.
A new face. Is this the face of a brave runner here to challenge the Red Mile?
They think the galaxy is theirs. They are wrong. It belongs to the Crimson Fleet. It always has.
In Starfield, we're pushing our cities and settlements further than we ever have before. It's all there, waiting for you. A slice of humanity's future.
So, ready to get out there?
Throughout the galaxy, there are so many things to see and stories to experience. But the most important story is the one that you tell. I'm the type of person who spends hours in character creation, and I think people are going to be really excited when they see all of the improvements we've made.
One of the biggest overhauls was done through our character generation system.
We scanned a wide range of faces from different age groups and ethnicities, and by mixing and matching all that data, we were able to create highly detailed and diverse characters.
We use that exact system to create all of the characters and NPCs you're going to see in the game. So any character you see almost always is a character you could make yourself.
Snap out of it!
Hey, come on. Okay, take it easy. You were out cold. No physical damage. Mentally, the jury's still out. You know who you are? New recruit for Argos Extractors? Ring any bells? Any of this look familiar?
You start your character creation journey as though you're cycling through employee records. You'll pick from a lineup of 40 presets, and that'll be your starting point. Your journey from there can be as detailed or as quick as you want it to be. This new system has more to offer than ever before.
It's also the simplest character generation system we ever had. We let the player get as close as possible to make whatever they want. With the various facial morphs you can blend together, the dermesthetic and makeup, blemishes, scars, piercings, teeth settings. It's a lot, but I think it's the most fun to use.
Character creation is more than just how you look. This is also where you start to decide who you want to be. That's where backgrounds come in. Backgrounds give you a bit of backstory and start you out with 3 basic skills.
From chef to dusty. You know, the crew still has a betting pool about which restaurant critic you must have crossed to wind up here.
What's great about backgrounds is you never know when yours is going to come in handy. You could be in the middle of a fancy restaurant talking to some guy, and suddenly you learn he needs a beast hunter to help track down a monster.
Fine. I probably should stick to professionals anyway, given what happened the last time.
We're also giving you the option to customize your build even further by letting you pick up to 3 traits. Traits are completely optional, and they come with their own advantages and disadvantages. You could choose to meet your biggest fan.
By Vectera! Is it really, really you?
He'll join your crew, and he'll give you gifts if you're willing to put up with his constant commentary.
I can't believe I get to stand near you, breathing the same air. I've got to have every molecule.
My favorite trait is kid stuff. You have to pay some credits to support your parents, but they're very sweet, and it's really fun to go visit them.
Honey, we got ourselves a visitor.
Oh my God!
I came across some hostile zealots in space, but because I had chosen a trait that made me the same religion as them, I was able to get by without any issues.
There's another great one that gives you a damage buff when your health is low, but mercenaries will randomly show up and try to kill you. No matter what you choose, there will be plenty of ways for you to tell your story. And if you want to remove a trait, there are ways to do that too.
What a view! It's a feast for the eyes. Off we go to another adventure.
We'll let you discover that on your own.
Once you've built the perfect character, that's when your journey can really begin. We took what we loved about skills and perks from our previous games and put them together to create an all-new skill system. Each time you level up, you get a skill point, which can be used to unlock or rank up skills. Ranks are unlocked by completing challenges associated with that skill. Challenges become increasingly difficult as you work your way to higher ranks. With our 5 different skill trees and 4 ranks per skill, there's a lot to choose from.
I like the xenosociology skill because it lets you mind control aliens.
Boost pack out of the gate. I'm boost packing everywhere.
I like maxing out my physical tree so I can get neuro strikes and just punch my way through combat. That one's a lot of fun.
Invest in the skills that suit your playstyle.
I'm very much a stealth player, so I'm out there pickpocketing everyone. My favorite part about being stealthy is slowly creeping through vents like you're in a movie, and then jumping out and springing on people.
Whenever possible, I like to talk my way through situations.
This area's off limits. Fine, I'll issue you an access card.
I'm more of a run and gun player. I like doing the death from above thing where I boost pack over guys and I throw landmines at them. I like blowing stuff up.
Exploration is a key aspect of all our games. In Starfield, there are full star systems with new life, resources, and adventures. Our team worked hard to strike a balance between fun and realism. We studied data from NASA and a multitude of other sources to help us make the world feel believable. From the way we approached planetary atmospheres to the way we placed biomes based on the planet's distance from the sun. Once we had created a grounded world, we could start looking at all the things that make that world fun. When you leave a planet and head into space, you'll be navigating asteroid fields, having chance meetings with interesting strangers, dogfighting in space, and exploring derelict ships. It's all out there. Ultimately, it's about rewarding your curiosity, because whether it's on the surface of a planet, the alleys of a city, or the vastness of space, you never know what you'll find.
Space exploration is possible thanks to your ship. Your ship is almost like having another character or home you can make all your own. I think you'll be blown away by the amount of stuff you can do. You can buy a ship.
I'm sure you can find something you like.
Customize and upgrade that ship. And hire a crew to keep it up and running. And it all starts in spaceports. Every spaceport has a ship technician where you can purchase, sell, and modify ships.
Anything I can help you with?
Maybe you start off with a speedy fighter that's perfect for bounty hunting. Then you might round out your ship roster with a hulking space freighter to run cargo missions, or even do a little smuggling. For now, though, we're going to take our starting ship, the Frontier, and make some changes. You can customize and upgrade everything you see here, and you have two ways to do that. You can quickly upgrade individual systems like your weapons or shields, or you can deep dive and enter the shipbuilder mode. Here you can change anything, from the systems to the look and layout. Adding a new habitat module can give you more room for crew. Adding cowling can change your ship's overall silhouette. An improved grav drive allows for longer distance space jumps. You can even fully customize your paint job to get the exact look you want. The parts you choose to build with don't just affect your ship's stats. They'll also affect what you can do inside your ship. You can have modules for crafting, or for storing and displaying your weapons. Starfield's in-game ship manufacturers bring their own look and feel to every piece of your ship. From living quarters to cargo holds, mess halls, and control rooms. Our modified Frontier is a practical ship, but with a little creativity, your ship can look like almost anything you want.
It's a bit odd, but one of my favorite ways of customizing ships is I make them look like animals. The HMS Platypus, as I called it, where it had a giant tail to it. And we've done spiders, we've done mechs. So it's really whatever your imagination is.
And while you can build your home among the stars the way you want to, you're probably not the only person who will call your ship home.
Ready to lift off when you are, Captain.
Engines ready.
The Frontier is fueled and ready, Captain.
Some of the members of Constellation can join you on your journey. These companions can serve on your crew, and they'll always be there when you travel.
We'll be traveling together until we either find an artifact or this lead runs dry.
Each companion comes with their own valuable skills for your ships and outposts, as well as unique quest lines. Eventually, some friendships might blossom into romance.
I don't know that I've ever really loved anyone except you.
And if you're looking for a little extra help on your ship, you can always hire additional crew at spaceports.
Got any room on your ship for someone like me?
You'll also meet potential crew members out in the world.
Still think there might be a spot for me on your ship? I gotta get off this rock.
Assign crew to your ship or outposts, and their unique skills will affect how they run. And just like companions, most crew members can lend a hand in the field. Take Bosco, for instance.
He's designed around the core basics of a NASA machine.
Please avoid getting shot. You might die.
I still wanted to give it almost a humanoid personality, so I elongated the limbs. This tends to make him feel more human-like and give him a little personality.
It is a shame exploration requires so much bloodshed.
Using the shipbuilding tools and crew selection features in Starfield, you'll be able to build and captain the ship of your dreams. And now, let's take to the sky.
We're putting you in the cockpit of your very own spaceship and telling you that you can do pretty much anything. And that is really cool for us as developers. Spaceflight should be exciting and dangerous, and you should feel like you're in complete control every step of the way. We've extended that sense of control to ship combat. It's not about just hitting your triggers to fire your weapons. It's a complex dance between your piloting skills and our power allocation system. Boosting power to your engines will make your ship faster. Powering up the ground drives will shorten the amount of time it takes before you can make a jump. And moving your power to your weapons and shields means you're ready for a fight. You should always be on your toes because you're not alone out there. Unlocking the targeting control system skill will allow you to zero in on specific subsystems of the ship you target. After destroying an enemy ship, you can loot the remains from your cockpit. You can always turn any ship that engages you into scrap. But you can also take a more personal approach by docking with the enemy vessel and boarding their ship. Once you've taken control of an enemy ship, it's yours. Add it to your fleet and retrieve it at any spaceport. But space is way more than fighting for your life. Just like when you're planetside, there are plenty of sights to see and stops to make on the way to your next adventure. Like these massive star yards. Walk the halls, talk to the crew, maybe get talked into buying a whole new ship.
A civilian in my star yard. Let's see about getting you a proper ship, one worthy of you.
Maybe you'll dock with a gigantic battleship, like the UC Vigilance. Or rub elbows with the galaxy's wealthy elite on a cruise ship fit for the stars. There are plenty of personal encounters to be had as well. You can hail any ship you come across to trade, swap info, or maybe even commit an act of piracy.
Let's do this.
When I'm playing, I generally go crazy. I definitely go like the more piracy routes. I want to take over ships. I'm going to board ships. I'm like, this is now mine. I steal all these sandwiches and put them, in my cargo hold that I have specifically for sandwiches. I don't want to play the hero, but I want to go out and just start taking things from people as quickly as possible.
Some strangers might be looking for a little human connection in the darkness of space.
Hello, stranger. I just finished cooking up some food. If you want to come on over, just pop on by.
Some of the best moments are the ones you discover on your own. The thing I love most about Starfield is that it is a Bethesda game through and through. It's really about going to strange new places, meeting interesting people, and getting sidetracked on zany adventures. Then, realizing 2 hours later that you're involved in a completely new story.
You're human. We thought we were the only ones to leave Earth.
That DNA is so present here. It's in our random encounters, it's in our handcrafted quests, and it feels so cool to play it and just make your own path in this universe. There are over 1,000 planets out there, just waiting for you to visit. We want you to feel like explorers, breaking ground on new planets, exploring every inch of a mostly untouched galaxy. We want you to feel hopeful. We want you to feel this sense of awe and wonder, and sometimes a little fear. We're giving you a massive playground and a ton of toys, and just setting you free.
Hey everybody, we've shown you so much stuff, but we thought we'd just take a little break and show you something a little bit different. You know, we put so much detail into our game worlds, and we love the opportunity to bring that into the real world with our collector's editions. And for this game, we've done a watch. It is the Constellation Explorer's Watch. This is the watch that you actually get in the game that acts as part of your HUD, where it's the compass and then environmental information. It connects to your phone to give you notifications and other information. And we've also designed this really cool case that it comes with, Istvan.
Yeah, we really took as much care in designing this case as we did the watch. Our attention to detail in the game totally translates to this. Inspired by the cases that the astronauts used during the Apollo era to bring back samples from the moon. It's got an intricate locking mechanism, authentic, heavy, comes with a Constellation patch, NATO strap, and the overall functionality and believability of this as something that would exist in the world, in the Starfield universe.
Oh, and hey, take this. You'll find it very useful out there, and it even tells the time.
We actually have something else. Now that we're part of Xbox, we get to work with the amazing people on the Xbox hardware team, and together we have created this custom limited edition Starfield controller. It's awesome. It is now, our favorite controller.
We love this because it's inspired by the actual controls of your spaceship. And not only that, we've created the first ever custom headset with Xbox. And this is a perfect pairing with that controller.
Control, this is Constellation Starship Frontier. Ready to start on your signal. Steady till ready. Coordinates input. Plotting jump course. Guidance has converged. Getting auxiliary reactor power. System checks are green across the board. Prepare for departure. Grav jump commencing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In every one of our games, we always put so much care into all those little details that breathe life into our worlds. But Starfield isn't just a Bethesda Game Studios world, it's a Bethesda Game Studios galaxy. So why go this big with Starfield? Because we want to give you freedom on a galactic level. The freedom to experience both the exciting planets and the quiet ones. Scanning a planet before you land is a great way to get a sneak peek at the available resources you can use for crafting, building, and customizing.
I think what's cool about this whole system that we generate the planet itself as a procedural content, but the handcrafted content itself comes as the player explore. Our system builds the planet as the player approaches it. We stitch together a block of terrain After that, we have the system that adds interesting locations for the player to explore, creatures to encounter, ore and plants to pick up. It allows us to add that touch of environmental storytelling that Bethesda is known for.
Aggressive creatures have been disrupting our experiments. Their habitat isn't far from here. If you could take care of them for us, we would be in your debt.
So even if your friends were to visit the same planet that you had, you would have a different story to tell.
It's completely up to you how you want to interact with each planet, whether you want to explore and see what you can find, harvest resources and be on your way, or simply take in the views. With the help of your scanner, you'll chart the uncharted and discover exotic wildlife.
If you have the skills, you can even figure out that certain creatures and plants, you can build an outpost and produce resources from those plants and animals. You can get experience and rewards for fully surveying planets and fully surveying a whole system.
When we were concepting these creatures, we really wanted to think of them as natural to the environment. We didn't want alien monsters, we wanted native wildlife. Something you've never seen before.
When it comes to our exteriors, when the sun moves, all that light is calculated in real time through the atmosphere. Our biggest goal for lighting with Starfield was to make the game feel more filmic, to use lighting and color to really make it feel more cinematic.
After some exploring, you can find a spot to set up a base camp. Outposts can be built almost anywhere on any planet. And the habitat modules come in all shapes and sizes, filling all different purposes. You can even live in them. Assign crew and companions to work at your outposts for added bonuses and set up extractors to harvest resources while you're away.
Something cool we have this time is we have a new fly cam where you can toggle between on-foot building, or you can now use a top-down isometric camera, which helps plan out larger parts of the outpost and placing those larger halves. So that way you can really plan your structures and what the overall feel of your outpost is. And then when you're on your feet, you can really decorate and fine-tune things much easier.
Add crafting and research stations in your outpost to utilize any resources you find or already have.
Mod your weapons to adapt them to your playstyle. Different weapon sights and scopes, larger magazines, a selection of grips and barrels, different ammunition like explosive rounds. All you stealth players out there will surely need a suppressor. You can also choose to go hands-on with melee weapons.
I think it's always a delicate balance between like what's realistic, what's sim, and what's Hollywood. And I think we sort of err on the side of like what's fun for the player.
Starfield, we've completely overhauled our combat. It's more dynamic, the animations are more fluid. It just feels great.
We probably have more mods and more weapons in this game than, I want to say, any other game we've done before. There's a lot of variety.
Upgraded gear is just one of the many factors to pay attention to when engaging in combat. You may need to switch things up based on your environment. Gravity is different for each planet, and boost packs are excellent for getting around. And for giving you an edge in combat. Sometimes you'll even feel like you're flying. Zero-gravity environments pose a different challenge. Firing a ballistic weapon in zero-G will actually push you backwards. Energy weapons, on the other hand, offer a more stable shooting experience.
We also have mag weapons. These are high-powered electromagnetic induction ballistic arrays. Each barrel has its own targeting laser and can dish out some serious damage. Whether you want to get up close and personal with your own two fists, or you like more compact weapons like pistols and submachine guns, or maybe you prefer something bigger. Starfield's got you covered.
Thanks again for being with us today. We are just so grateful that you've taken the time and spent it here. I know there was probably a lot to take in. There's a lot to the game, even more than we could show here. You know, as we play it, we're always sharing these unique and special moments that only a game like this can bring. When I think about what makes it special, it really is the people here. This game is a reflection of the incredible and passionate team that made it. All of them putting something special of themselves into it. So let's hear some of their favorite moments.
I love the way that our final combination of all the new tech has come together to create some of the most beautiful sunsets and sunrises we've ever had in any of our games.
I love the creatures, the exploration, every biome is different. The word that comes to mind is vast.
I like to use our photo mode to take rock star photos.
I just love that constant feel of discovery and, wow, I can't believe that there's more here.
I'm most excited about our outpost building systems.
My favorite part is every time you step out on a planet, it's a unique experience.
You spent all this time building your ship, and you see it on the landing pad. These things are gigantic. It's the kind of thing that you just can't get anywhere else.
There's something about seeing a tower over in the distance and going, I know the gravity's low here. I think I can make that jump.
My favorite part is biomes, spaceships, audio design, planets, the day-night cycle.
Those details matter to me.
Diplomacy, exploration, freedom,
the ending.
Beskip, obviously.
I love the robots so much.
The incredible amount of worlds we created.
Sniper rifles, come on.
Lever action, rocket launcher.
Brain sprout. I love, but some people might find creepy. I don't know. I know it's right, Ben.
The thing that I enjoy most about the game is the freedom to be who you want to be, do what you want to do. It's what you've come to expect from a Bethesda title, but on a much bigger scale.
On behalf of all of us, we can't wait for you to play Starfield and make your own special moments.
Lead engines go. Good luck, Constellation. You are go for launch.
Humanity has always hunted for knowledge in the unknown. The wonder is, not that the field of stars is so vast, but that we have measured it. We're all here because we're committed to the biggest question of all. What's out there? You're part of Constellation now. Part of our family.
We do not fully understand all that is at work here.
No finer group in the stars to be unraveling this mystery.
I'll follow you from here on out, Captain.
Grab jump is ready. I love this part.
These artifacts could be everything we've been looking for. Another great secret the universe is asking us to unravel.
Human settlements throughout the galaxy could be at risk.
We are not stopping. Whatever lies at the end of this road will change humanity forever. This is where we belong.